what I do, and this is what I'm going to tell you in this particular video is, I'm going to go through exactly what this table is and how do you do it, and then finally provide, some possible ways of how this can be very helpful for you with your own writing. So if you look here, I will look at the existing literature, the existing ideas on, so this is on user innovation. So what I did is I have the study or the whoever's written the work and the data that is used, the method that is used in the particular study or whatever they're writing up, the findings of their study, or maybe it is if you're doing maybe some fiction work, maybe it's the sort of story that they told, and then how it relates and the differences to your current work or to my current paper, right? So this, I was looking at user innovation, which is how people sort of solve their unmet needs by just kind of doing everyday things. And one of the books that I really like and I read recently was Eric von Hippel. He's a professor at MIT. He's been there for a long time. You could look at some of my older videos. I do talk about him in the couple of videos before this, and I go in and talk about his work. And then I list, what's the data that they use in that particular study. So here, for example, I talk about the kayaking industry. They use surveys and they have X number of subjects in that study. So you can also do the same thing and talking about the particular setting that the work is about. So that's all data is really talking about. What is the setting of the study? So maybe it is, if you're looking at nonfiction, you're doing something about vampires, right? And there's a lot of work on vampires. So maybe you look at the setting, everybody's doing stuff at nighttime, for example, or at a high school, for example. Then you can go and list the different methods that are being used. So this is probably more on the sort of research side where you can list the different method that we use. So there's a survey, there's quantitative, they used regression and Nova methodology. I won't get into those, but just know that it's a type of method. And then the particular findings that they had. What was the sort of point of the paper? What did they find? So, 5 to 10% of all innovations are created by users. These kind of findings like this, I just dreamt that up and just to put that in there. But that's roughly about what it is. And a lot of innovations are created by users. Actually, I think that number is much more higher. But anyways, this is more on the consumer innovation, people that are just doing kind of things in their house and doing sort of user innovation for things in their house. But anyways, and they're motivated by joy and learning. They're just doing it just because they want to, right? Then over here, you can get into how it relates to your current paper, your current idea, right? So user innovation, let's say I'm writing a paper on motivations, and it relates because it's about user innovation and it is about motivations. Then you can sort of get into, my paper is using sort of experimental methodology. They use surveys. So we can look at the differences. Why is that important? They have more internal validity. Experiments has more internal validity for X, Y, and Z reasons. You can also suggest, so coming back to the vampire suggestion or idea of everybody's doing a story about vampires in high school, maybe you can look at vampires in a senior's home. That might be kind of a goofy sort of take on it, but it might be a lot of fun, right? So you could do something about senior citizens and some of them being vampires and maybe taking over the world or something like that. It could be a lot of fun. And that's how you sort of carve out a niche or a niche with what you're doing compared to what everybody else is doing.